Okay. Hello. I don't know if you guys can hear me unless I bring out my little microphone. Okay. I was watching, like I always do, videos. I do this thing where I like to quickly scroll through my FYP just to kind of get a feel for the energy. It's interesting how it can shift every day. In my scrolling today, man, there's a lot of hate going on. Whether it's like men attacking women for not understanding men, and women attacking men for not understanding women, children against their parents, parents against their children, the elderly against the young against the elderly, the government, everyone's against everybody. Have you guys considered, though, that a lot of these issues, which they are issues, some of them, are just distractions? I mean, okay, let's think about it this way. If, for example, something like the conflict between men and women or grandparents and teenagers or whatever, if we take something simple like those dynamics and we try to solve it on the surface level, which is what everyone's trying to do, right? When everyone's addressing these little tiny parts of a huge whole, which is our society as a Western patriarch culture, but you're only taking a tiny piece of it, right? It's like, I don't like the way that's colored. I feel like freaking Alice in Wonderland. Paint the roses red. Paint the roses red. Anyways, I love that movie. It's like that. You're taking one flower and you're just going to paint that flower. Be like, okay, now the whole rose bush looks okay now. No, it ain't. The roots are still not the roots of a red rose bush. It's a white rose bush still. And it's going to keep growing white roses until you change the root system. And that is what people are doing with all this focusing on these different little pieces. The pattern that is the core pattern for all of these different dynamics that are so painful for at least one person in almost every part of it. Like, I can't look at one Western version of a relationship and see where both parties ever come out feeling good. It just doesn't seem to happen in the westernized, colonized version of how things are supposed to be. Drop all your stories, by the way. If you haven't learned how to let go of all that shit, you really gotta do that, because it's all bullshit. I mean, get on a plane, travel the world for a bit. Heck, go on Google and travel the world for a bit. Start learning and seeing how other people live. You don't have to live the way they say is the better way in North America. I mean, colonized countries like Canada, we tend to hide our dirt in our closets a bit better. Maybe it's something telling of who colonized us. But we're no better than any other patriarch system. Like, we're not. I'd actually kind of hate to see what came out of Canada's closets, to be honest. If we actually exposed it all, I bet you there's some dark shit. Anyways, I mean, darker than we've already learned. That's disturbing, isn't it? Have you ever noticed? Anyways, we're not going to get into that. You guys are focusing on all these little pieces, and there's a lot of coaches and gurus, and I want to say that they're doing a good thing, because everyone has to go through these stages. We all have to go through the cycles, the patterns, and you have to live the pattern sometimes to recognize the pattern before you can release it and allow space for a new one, or modify it. Maybe you don't even release the pattern. Maybe you just modify it. Maybe it's a good pattern, but you're at the wrong duality of it, right? The polar opposite. You need to kind of slowly integrate it and modify it till it's at the other end of the spectrum. So as an example, instead of just looking at men and women and how we don't get along, why are men being trained, raised, and taught from the very get-go to feel the way they do about themselves and about women and about how it's supposed to all work together in society? And same with women. And this all goes back to the structure of family, which goes back to the structure of children and how they're being raised and what they're taught to look for. This video I'm making right now, the reason why it's inspired to me is I saw this beautiful young girl, and I don't know if she was in North America or another country, but gorgeous. And again, dark black skin. I have no idea how old she was. Her skin was so beautiful. She could have been 18. She could have been 14. She could have been 32. I honestly don't know. You guys are tricky that way. It's almost not fair. anyways, beautiful young girl. We're going to call her young because she looked young. And the comment on her post was, we're not raising women to be wives anymore. Hold up. Stop that shit right there. I will never raise my daughters to be wives. I'm going to raise them to be what they want to be. If they want to be fiery ass women and conquer the world, I'm going to encourage that. If they want to be goofy, weird, non-binary comedians, I'm going to inspire that in them. I don't give a shit what it is. You know what I mean? This whole dynamic of what a wife is supposed to be and what a husband is supposed to be comes down to a very fundamental thing that we've lost in Western patriarch society. That is the natural flow and intuition that comes with being the gender that you are. It doesn't matter about your male or female, like physical anatomy. Your gender is something you'll feel inside of you. You'll know it from birth, right? You don't wake up one day and be like, I think maybe I decided today that I'm going to suddenly not be attracted to men. Now I've just decided I'm attracted to women. And just, technically, honestly, in theory, you could technically do that if you actually follow the whole belief system. But for most of us, biology is biology, and we haven't reached the mental expansion yet that allows us to just magically change those core beliefs like instantly. I think that's something we'll evolve into over time. There's probably some people walking the planet right now who can do that. If I ever get to meet them, you'll probably never see me again because I'll just want to be their student for life. Teach me your ways. Okay, but people have to understand that feeling of a divine feminine or divine masculine, and I'm going to say divine because what I mean divine is it's not defined by man. It is something that just is already existence. It just is, right? Just like you just are, I just am, and we are enough just because we exist. The feeling of feminine energy, the feeling of masculine energy, because they are energies. And as humans, we do need to label things to categorize them, or our data centers have a hard time knowing where to put shit. So let's just accept that for now we need labels. And I find that if you were to let someone naturally, intuitively discover their own masculine or feminine energy, the roles that they're going to play in a relationship when they finally find the person that matches them is going to be unique to them. Yes, the feminine energy is probably going to be doing a lot more creative stuff. She's probably, or he's probably, whatever the feminine energy is, they're probably going to want to do baking and arts and crafts, and maybe they seem a little chaotic and are running around and things are kind of not always finished the way other people would. They're definitely not, an A-type. In the masculine might be different. He's better at organizing. He's better at focusing the energy and putting it to a purpose. And that's why you have the masculine and the feminine working together. But how that ends up flowing for them is going to be unique to them. It's not about, take on your wife role. Take on your husband role. How about you just be you, and I'll just be me, and we'll get along until we don't. And then we'll figure out how to get along again. The division and all these little pieces that are actually part of a big whole that is broken, a system that is broken, which is the family system, the unity that helps give us support and feel loved and cared for, that gives us the safe space to grow without being abused. We lost that. We need to get it back. And until we stop focusing on all these little pieces and start focusing on the core problem, we're going to stay stuck. And they, as a society, Western patriarch society, wants you to stay stuck on the tiny little pieces, so it's going to keep focusing on that and spend trillions of dollars on research for bullshit. Anyways, that's just my opinion, because I think it could be solved if we would stop listening to everyone's bullshit. Anyways, have a great day. Okay, bye.